Australia has joined the United States in voicing its hope that Israeli airstrikes on Iran will be the end of retaliatory attacks between the two countries. Israel says that its bombing was precise and targeted at military sites, and Iran claims there was only limited damage, but said 4 of its soldiers were killed.
In the early hours of Saturday morning, 100 Israeli fighter jets set out on their mission. Israel says it hit 20 missile manufacturing and military sites across the country, some near the capital, Tehran. The mission codenamed Days of Repentance, following a barrage of Iranian missiles fired at Israel earlier this month. Its closest ally, the United States, was given a heads up.
It looks like they didn't hit anything other than military targets. My hope is this is the end.
Images posted on social media show emergency crews at this building. Iran playing down the damage from the strikes, but confirming 4 soldiers were killed. Israel is insisting the targets were chosen in line with its national interest and not because of pressure from Washington, as implied by the White House. In Tel Aviv, some Israelis believe the strikes were justified.
It was a good action, but we need to keep it calm. We don't need to get the escalation going.
We need to respond very hard, very quick.
Australia is in lockstep with the US, urging Tehran not to hit back again.
Israel, of course, has a right to retaliate for the attacks that took place from Iran. What I do is join with the US Secretary of State, join with Prime Minister Starmer to continue to work towards a de-escalation in the Middle East.
How Iran responds from here is being watched closely around the world. State media is reporting the country's foreign minister is saying there are no limits as to how far Iran will go to defend itself. The calculation from here is strike back and risk further escalation with Israel, or hold fire and deal with Israel's belief that it's secured a strategic win. And just hours after the strike, proof Israel is refusing to let up in its attacks against Hezbollah. The IDF releasing vision of a massive strike in southern Lebanon on what it claims was an underground compound. The explosion so large, it triggered earthquake warnings across Lebanon and northern Israel.
And Middle East correspondent Matthew Doran is in Jerusalem for us this evening. Matt, what can we take from the timing of the strikes?
Nakari, good evening. The US had been in the ear of Israel for some time, urging it to only attack military assets in Iran rather than the country's energy or indeed nuclear facilities. And it appears that is what Israel has done just 10 days out from the US presidential election. Now, that is a poll which will have a significant influence on the multiple conflicts happening in the Middle East. Donald Trump, for example, is expected to take a far harder line on Iran than Joe Biden and his would-be heir Kamala Harris, which means that could give Israel a little bit more leeway in the future if it decides to launch further attacks on Iran. But these strikes have also happened just ahead of expected ceasefire and hostage negotiation talks restarting in Doha, those talks relating specifically to Gaza. This is something that will be the first round of talks since the killing of the Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar by Israel just over a week ago, and it is yet to be seen whether or not either side will properly come to those negotiations prepared to thrash out some of the intractable issues. Nakari?